to the Huntsman World Senior Games Active Life. My name is Kyle Case, and I'll be your host on this amazing journey as we attempt to help you get the most out of your life. Joining me in the studio today is my co-pilot, Andy Groft. Andy, how are you today?
I'm doing really good, Kyle. Thank you.
Good. Thanks for being with us.
You bet.
Andy, you know this. I think you know this about me. I'm a reader.
Yep.
You know I like to read. I know you like to read as well.
We talk about books quite a bit.
We do. I have always loved to read. It's been one of my favorite pastimes for my whole life. I have very vivid memories of sitting on the kitchen countertop before I was in kindergarten even.
Wow.
My mom was making lunches and I'd be reading Dr. Seuss out loud to her.
Wow.
I just really remember that. I've always loved to read. And I've read lots of things in my life: action novels, science fiction, comic books, motivational books, biographies, the backs of cereal boxes, whatever. I just really like to read.
Sure.
And one of the best books, hands down, that I've ever read is a book called Unbroken, a World War II story of survival, resilience, and redemption. Have you ever read Unbroken?
I haven't read it, but I've heard about it, and I'm thinking I might want to read it now.
I highly, highly recommend it. It's a great, great book. And if you're not a reader like I am, I understand that the movie is coming out, directed by Angelina Jolie this December. So I'm looking forward to seeing the movie as well, because I really loved the book. And the book itself, it's an amazing, just a compelling story about a gentleman named Louis Zamperini. And he had just an amazing life. He was a standout track and field athlete, good enough, in fact, to compete in the 1936 Berlin Olympics in the 5,000-meter race at the time. After the Olympics, he was an airman in World War II, and he was actually shot down over the Pacific. And he and one of his crewmates survived on a raft for 47 days in shark-infested waters. 47 days.
That's amazing.
They just drank rainwater and ate raw fish, basically.
I barely survived the last 47 days.
I know,
in my house.
You're not even on the ocean in an inflatable army raft, right? It's amazing. Eventually, on top of that, he and his companion were pulled out of the water. Unfortunately, it was by Japanese soldiers, and he was taken as a prisoner of war and really suffered, and I mean truly suffered for 2 years, enduring just some pretty heinous torture. After those 2 years, he came home, undoubtedly with what would be diagnosed today as post-traumatic stress disorder, and he really struggled initially in his life. He had a hard time. Eventually, he did find peace through his relationship with Jesus Christ, and he spent much of the rest of his life preaching of the power of forgiveness, and really impacted a lot of people. And the reason I mention Zamperini is that he died yesterday,
Really?
July 2nd, and I believe he was 97. And while I don't know him personally, I truly was inspired by him and how he lived the active life. In addition to all these amazing things that happened to him and that he lived through and that he did, he remained active and alert and engaged in his life through the end. He finally gave up skateboarding at the age of 81.
Oh, my goodness.
And he stopped skiing 10 years later at 91. So he really, just right up until the end, he remained very active. And that is what we want for our listeners and our athletes at the Huntsman World Senior Games. I mean, that's what we're shooting for. And speaking of the active life and how we attempt to provide opportunities for athletes to actually live it, today we're lucky enough to have with us in the studio Mr. John Rosey Rosander, who is our Director of Sports at the Huntsman World Senior Games. How you doing, Rosey?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me today. I just have to say I am not a book reader, but I can't wait to see Angelina Jolie on the screen, and I will look for that.
Wait, is she going to be on the screen, or is she just directing it?
My understanding is that she is just the director.
I don't want to see it. Then.
You don't want to see the movie. You have no interest.
I've got some old Tomb Raider movies that I can lend you.
I've seen them multiple times.
Okay.
Mine are wearing out, so I might need to see yours.
Borrow them.
Oh, now we learned something about Rosey.
That is good to know. That is good for us to know. Anyway, thanks for being with us today, Rosey. We really appreciate it. Now, for the past 25 years, Rosey has been a full-time program coordinator for the City of St. George Recreation Department, and he oversaw the following sports. Listen to this list. This is pretty impressive. Youth football, basketball, volleyball, soccer, track, rugby, golf, softball, and baseball.
Wow.
That's a pretty extensive list.
That is an extensive list.
On top of that, while he was working for the city of St. George, he was also the part-time recreational director for the city of Hurricane, where he did many of the same things. So pretty busy guy, Rosey.
Well, my wife doesn't like me at home. She wants me to be gone. No.
Someone once said the best marriage advice that they ever received is to get lots and lots of fresh air.
Yeah, that's right.
And that's what you've done. You've got lots and lots of fresh air. Well, we at the Games, we feel very lucky to have snagged Rosey, and we brought him over as a full-time employee at the Games, and he is, as I mentioned, our director of sports. And he came on board last year. We literally hired him and then immediately gave him a baptism of fire. His first day of work, I think, was right around the 1st of October, and the Games started just a few days after that.
Yeah, I had like 5 days to prepare and get ready. It was awesome.
That's right. But let me just say this, with very, very short preparation time, Rosey truly exceeded everyone's expectations. With his experience and his wealth of knowledge in sports management, he just, frankly, rolled up his sleeves and he went to work and he helped us pull off one of the most successful games ever.
Oh.
So welcome, Rosey, to the Games and also to the show. We're excited to talk with you, and we definitely want to talk about the Huntsman World Senior Games and your involvement there. But before we get into that, give us just a little bit of information about yourself. I mean, obviously, you've been involved in sports for basically your entire professional career. How did you develop such a passion for sports?
Well, you can see from my resume. I like to keep busy. I like to keep active, and that's what's so fun about being involved in the Huntsman World Senior Games is being active. Also, is your mantra, and so that I guess I feel like I fit right in there with that. In fact. I was just counting the other day. I had burned 900 calories in 18 to 20 minutes the other day. And then I took the pizza out of the oven on broil. And it
was a little too hot in there.
It was,
it
really
hot.
Burned it. But,
you burned right through those 900 calories.
Anyway, no, since I was born, we've been, as a family, involved in sports and athletics. Basketball and baseball have been our kind of family favorite sports.
Kind of a tradition.
Yeah, but those are ones I grew up with, and all of our family played and enjoyed. I come from a family where my dad played basketball about 3 to 4 mornings a week until he was 80 years old.
Wow.
And so it's, I remember every summer my dad waking me up at 5:30 in the morning. Let's go play basketball. Let's go. We got to go. And I used to try to figure how to talk him out of going.
At 5:30 in the morning. You wanted to go, but just not at 5:30 in the morning.
Not at 5:30 in the morning. But anyway, and then as I got into school and got a degree into recreation and got a job with the city of St. George, and I moved to Hurricane and wanted to help them with their recreation and got involved over there, probably for the most part selfishly with my kids, trying to get things for them to do and active in over there that I felt like they needed more than they were doing. And here I am now in my senior years with the Huntsman World Senior Games.
And you fit in just right, Rosey. You fit in just right.
I'm a senior.
Yeah. And you're good at sports.
Well, it's awesome. And, your experience has been a real asset to the Games, and we love working with you and think that you've really made an impact and will continue to do so. So thanks.
Well, thank you.
So, Rosey, you're the director of sports. What does that mean? What do you do? What are some of the different your goals and your responsibilities and things like that?
Well, it's funny you should ask, because about everybody I know asks me that. What do you do? It's only 2 weeks. What do you do all year? But ironically, there are tons of things to do all year long with the Games, preparing for them, and it is quite a big event that every day there was 11 to 18 sports going on, at multiple facilities, and you can't be everywhere. So it does take the year to plan and prepare and get the directors ready for it. We have over 30 sports that the directors are running, and in each of those sports they have to be knowledgeable and understand their sport and their rules and what's going on with those sports. And so with that in mind, during the year, preparing them, buying the supplies and things that they need so that they are prepared, getting the venues ready for that, and all of those things are ready. Plus, just wrapping up from the games and trying to collect everything and evaluate how you did do things. All with that all going on, plus the registration, it's been crazy.
Keeps you busy all year round.
It does. Been good. An active lifestyle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it definitely is kind of a cycle that we have at the games, and we are often asked that question. So, what do you do for the other 50 weeks of the year? But there's plenty to do. Lots that has to go into getting ready for the games and just having things in place. And as you said, it takes so much preparation time because you just can't be everywhere at once. So if you're just joining us, you're listening to the Huntsman World Senior Games Active Life, and we're visiting with Rosey Rosander, who is the Director of Sports for the Huntsman World Senior Games. And Rosey, you've come on board most recently as the Director of Sports with the Games, but you've been involved with the Games actually for a long, long time. So maybe talk a little bit about that. What's been some of your involvement that you've had with the Games?
Well, I started the second year of the games. I missed the first year. Didn't really hear much about it. And then after it happened and all the newspapers, clippings and everything that was going on, all the news, I thought, man, that'd be something that would be enjoyable to get involved with. And I've always been involved in the community, and my parents have been involved in the community and taught me that to help make the world better, and so I wanted to get involved in the senior games and be part of that also, and my father had heard about it and wanted to come down and do some golfing and basketball and some different things, and so that also was an interest I had in trying to get involved with it. So it's been since the second year in 1988.
And you've done a variety of things, everything from helping with the ceremonies on through directing one of the actual sports. Yeah,
in fact, the very first thing I did was helping Sherry Atkin do a tennis program where we went to all of the schools and taught them how to do peewee tennis, and then we came to the opening ceremonies and brought them there and did a little tennis demonstration and trying to get a bigger crowd there to the ceremonies, and now we can't fit everybody that comes to the ceremonies there, but that was the start, and then got involved in table tennis, and then more recently the basketball shoot before I got this job here.
Awesome. Well, let's talk a little bit about the Huntsman World Senior Games and the sports. What are some of the most popular sports at the Games?
Well, the biggest sports are softball with about 4,500 participants, and volleyball with over 1,500 participants are the biggest sports. But the pickleball filled up in 24 days, so I'd have to say that's a pretty popular sport there. And we do have bowling is filled up, and softball only has 10 team openings. Volleyball is filled up. In fact, we're over full and people on a waiting list. So those all are some of the more popular sports there. One of the interesting sports is shotgun shoot, which we did change from shooting to shotgun sports. I think it sounded a little bit better, but it is up 300% in registration.
Of where it was a year ago.
Of where it was a year ago today, yeah.
Wow. That's amazing.
So there's lots going on, and as you mentioned, Rosey, the registration is now open and available, and anybody who's interested or listening and wanting information about the games, they can go right to the website, which is www.seniorgames.net, and get information and also just register. And as Rosey said, registrations are going very, very well. We're registering a lot of athletes very early, so don't wait. Now is the time to get registered.
Yeah, not sure exactly what it is, but in a staff meeting the other day, we found out that registrations are up about 25 to 26%, from a year ago.
Right.
So why people are registering and things are happening fast is I don't know for sure, but it's pretty cool. Now, before I wanted to ask you, Rosey, you mentioned softball, volleyball, pickleball, bowling being pretty popular. Just for our listening audience, do you have other sports? You probably can't name them all, but what are some of the ones that they would recognize? And what are some that may be a little bit different that people wouldn't think were in an Olympic-style games?
Well, I think that the majority of them that they would recognize, archery, badminton, basketball, bowling, those are ones that are recognizable. I mean, golf. There's just a bunch of them, but some that they may not recognize as much or think about would be like cowboy action shooting.
Wow.
I mean, it is great and fun atmosphere. They get into the attire of the cowboy setting. They'll spend $1,000 on their clothing just to come and participate in that. And that is one you want to go watch. I mean, you just want to go see and watch them and remind you of the Gunsmoke days and Maverick and all those.
Yeah, like
John Wayne and the whole thing, right?
It is fun, but
almost like watching an old Western. Now, just really quick on that one, if I wanted to participate, if I was 50 or older and I had an old Colt 45 or something like that, do I have to spend $1,000 on a tire, or can I just dress in some old jeans and a white shirt?
You can do what you normally do, and that is just go to the DI and buy your clothes, and you can get an outfit that will
perfect. I'll be good at that. At that. Yeah.
Get your boots and hat on and go down there. But no, you don't have to. But they do like to dress up and have fun with that, and they come to our ceremonies all dressed up. But that's just such a neat, unusual type of sport. But we have all of the traditional ones that you'd think of probably with cycling and road races and track and field and soccer, table tennis. I mean, I think these are all ones that you would think of.
Now, I know these days it seems like road races where you do a 5K or a 10K, they're pretty popular, or half marathons. You have that as well?
Yes, we do. We have a 10K, 5K, a half marathon. We also have race walking, power walking, and then all the track and field events
Very
too.
Cool. Yeah, that's cool.
It's a huge spectrum. A lot of sports, and we like to say at the games, and I know Rosey would echo this, that we really have something for everyone. If you're a highly skilled athlete, come and compete against highly skilled athletes. If you're just a beginner or you're just interested in trying something new, well, come on out and give it a try, and then we're going to pair you with somebody in your right age group or your own skill level.
Right.
There's lots of offers, lots to offer.
Yeah, and one of the things that I think is important for me is, I've ran a few 5Ks, a few 10Ks, and I knew I wasn't going to win, but I just went for the energy and for the excitement of it, and people can do that. I know that's true. I wanted to ask you another question about the return rate. There's like an 80%, 79 to 80% return rate from year to year. And I wondered, could you explain why? Why do people come back at such a high percentage?
Well, like you said, we get about an 80% of our athletes return and come back, and which also means we get about 20% of new athletes that come in that haven't come before, which is a good percentage. That means people are coming back year after year and really enjoy the games. On the other hand, we're continually growing and getting new people involved in it. And I think it all goes back to John Morgan and his setting the stage of being friendly and courteous and loving the people that came and letting them feel good about it, not just for the competition, because the competition over the years has become tremendous, but also just coming and feeling good about here's some friends that I can have a class reunion type of thing I can reunite with, and Kathy and Mona and Merrill, the previous sports director, have really done an awesome job over the years to make that environment there for everybody.
There's no question about it. We say that the mission of the Huntsman World Senior Games is to foster worldwide peace, health, and friendship, and that's been the goal from the beginning, and it continues to be so. And so it's the competition element is certainly very important, and we try to put on the very best competition that we can with world-class venues and qualified officials and great athletes and volunteers that can step in and help out. but it's only one element of what the games are about. That idea of fostering friendship, and there's a social element that's so important with the games, both on the field of competition, which we see all the time through just great displays of sportsmanship and friendship within teams, and also between teams.
Sure.
And individual athletes. We see that all the time. And then, of course, this concept of if we could just put all of our politics aside and walk out onto a field of competition and get to know each other, as athletes and as competitors, it gets us closer to peace, which is what we're trying to do. And that's what we do with the sports that we do here at the games.
Well, and our athletes, they come for the competition. I mean, we have the athletes that, when others in the world throw in the towel, our athletes use the towel to wipe off the blood and the sweat. They're just diehards. But on the other hand, when they leave here, they know that they've got a friend and they have a family that they've joined here, and they just want to come back again.
That's so true. Again, if you're just joining us, you're listening to the Huntsman World Senior Games Active Life, and we're visiting with the Games Director of Sports, Rosey Rosander. And Rosey, you've been involved, as you said earlier, with the Games for a long, long time. 27 years that you've been involved with the Games. You just missed the very, very first one. Over those years, you've got to have accumulated some pretty amazing memories. So first of all, what is maybe your favorite part of the Huntsman World Senior Games, and then maybe share one of your favorite memories that you've experienced with your involvement with the games?
Well, I think the favorite part is each year coming in and finding that the athletes remember me and I remember them, and we give each other a hug and just, wow, this is awesome, love you guys, and
part
just
of that friendship thing that
right.
We were talking about.
It's just so fun, and at first I didn't really notice it, but of course as they got to know me and I remembered them, you kind of look forward to that and look forward to seeing them. And I remember a gal, I gave her her gold medal, and she ran up to me and jumped up into my arms and put her legs around my waist and gave me this big hug and kind of freaked me out in a little bit. Ironically, since then, my wife has volunteered every year to help me.
She's stepped right in and been willing to help out. Huh?
Yeah. But I when I first started, I was in my my 20s and thought, wow, this is great. When I'm 50, I want to participate. And when I was 50, I thought, wow, these guys are really good. I don't know if I can compete.
You can hang with them, huh?
I was. When we had our 25th year anniversary, I did compete, and I did win a silver in the silver anniversary year. I could have won the gold, but I thought, it'd be neater to win the silver in that year of the silver anniversary. Yeah.
Good plan. That was a good plan. Very good.
So one thing I was just going to mention is, it's the 1st of July, or I guess the 3rd today, and registration closes in 2 months. Is that right?
Well, in registration August 1st, there's an increase in registration. So you really want to register before August 1st and get in. Don't wait till the deadline of September 1st when there is a drop-dead deadline there. But you want to get in before that, increase.
So basically, whether it's a team sport or an individual sport like swimming or road races or something like that, I ought to get involved and get registered in the next couple weeks.
Yeah,
but if something happens and I forget, I have till September 1st. But really, in the month of July, that's
July's the month to register. Don't wait till August. You'll be paying just a little bit more. And we haven't mentioned it, but we did have 2 new sports this year, and we want to make sure we do mention those.
Let's talk about those for a second.
Well, we have the bench rest, which is a small bore air gun bench rest, and it's really those sharp shooters out there that have learned how to shoot their guns. It is for them, and it's a great sport. And they even go out and practice if someone's interested. They go out to the county fairground range out there and can practice. The other sport we have is shuffleboard, which is really an international fun sport that if you haven't ever tried it, you got to get used to it. Come and try it and see what you think. If you've ever been on a cruise ship, you probably have tried it.
more than likely, at least shuffleboard. Maybe not the small bore bench rest shooting,
No,
but
those
the
guns usually
shuffleboard.
get confiscated when you try to take them on those cruise ships.
I think it's worth noting that as a staff, we actually went out to the shooting sports park, and we were given an opportunity to try our hand at the sharp shooting, and I really enjoyed myself. It was fun. I won't say I was any good at it. I could see how it is truly a skill that you'd have to work on, but it was fun.
It was fun, and our directors that helped us out there were so awesome to work with us. I mean, us amateurs who were trying to shoot, and I come out there with my personal .22 shotgun and try to shoot, and I look through my scope, and I can barely just see the target through it. So I pulled out Bill Gillingham's, the director's, his scope, and I can not only see the target, I can see the little threads coming out of the paper on the target. It was just focused in there.
And I think it's good to note that the small bore air gun bench rest is a small caliber sport, where shotgun and cowboy action shooting are larger caliber guns. So if you have just a smaller caliber gun, you can participate and not get the kick. And if you're nervous around guns, that's a good one to start with.
That's right. And if you don't know out there, our listeners, you can register when you're 50. Don't wait till you're 65 to register. Register when you're 50. You got two choices. You can either go get a colonoscopy, or you can register and get some bling at the Huntsman World Senior Games.
And on that note, that's about all the time that we have for today. So, Rosey, in all reality, thank you very much for joining us, and I hope that you'll join us another time on the show. So don't forget, everyone, to tune in next Thursday and every single Thursday at 4:30 p.m. on 1450 on the AM dial or FM 93.1, where we'll continue to explore the active life. If you've missed any episodes of The Active Life, be sure to check out the previous episodes that are available right now on our website at www.seniorgames.net. That's also where you get information on the games, schedules, rules, a list of sporting competitions, and it's the place that you go to register for this year's Huntsman World Senior Games, which happens October 6th through the 18th. If you have any questions about the games or today's show, send us an email at activelife@seniorgames.net. And finally, a closing thought for your day: don't let aging get you down. It's too hard to get back up.
Oh, yeah.
So until next Thursday, stay active.